Hey guys, this is Danish, and in today's webinar we will be talking about the Paraguayan Tax Residency, the most famous tax residency in the world for entrepreneurs, for digital nomads, and to be honest, for anyone who like to optimize their international tax setup. Today with me, we have Natalia, a veteran tax expert for Paraguay. She's been in business for about 10 years, almost 10 years. And she has done about 7,000 to 8,000 residencies for the 70 to 80 citizens in the world. So I'm very pleased. It's such an honor. Natalia, how are you doing today?
Excellent. It's a pleasure being again with you. And let's inform everyone about Paraguay.
Yes, let's just dive straight into it. So Natalia, Paraguay is getting a traction online or even offline for its tax residency program. I will ask you, why do people and entrepreneurs choose Paraguay? What are the top 3 reasons, or, what do you think?
Yes, well, Paraguay is a little journey that we have for tax benefits or tax situation. People is discovering Paraguay every day. Each day we have more people asking about Paraguay. And I think today we could say it's one of the most convenient and accessible places to get a tax residence. I think that will be the main reason why so many people is coming or checking what's going on in Paraguay.
Wow, sounds incredible. I will ask you, what are the requirements in 2024 to apply for the Paraguayan tax residency?
Okay, it's good that you remarked 2024 because in the future may change. So as today, the requirements are, first, we do a temporary residency. This residency lasts 2 years. We require the clients to come 2 times to Paraguay. They do the temporary residency, and after 45 days, they can come back to do the cédula, which is the national ID. Once the cédula is ready, we deliver the documents to the person, and we can get or enroll the clients into the tax ID. That will be basically the process today. And in 2 years, person can come back to apply for permanent residency, and they will have this ID in 2 years, will be for 10 years.
That sounds incredible. And if I ask you the whole process you described, what is the total duration or time it takes?
The total duration, I will say 90 days. Once the client comes for the first visit, we just need the person 2 working days in Asunción. Then he can leave or stay, of course. And if he comes back after the day 45, we do the cédula, and other 40 days, after 40 days, we deliver the cédula. So if he comes the 2 times close, in 90 days, he gets the residency and the cédula.
Wow, sounds incredible. And Natalia, what documents would I need if I decide to go for a Paraguayan tax residency?
Documents are birth certificate with apostille, criminal record with apostille. Criminal record normally lasts 6 months since the date it was issued. And if the person is married, marriage certificate with apostille.
That sounds a pretty incredible thing. And what are some of the benefits I would get after becoming a tax resident of Paraguay?
I think the main benefit is that Paraguay has a territorial taxation system. So basically, all the foreign income made abroad, it's 0%. So has 0% foreign income taxes. That's the main benefit that you might have in Paraguay.
That's incredible. And there are some, let's say Dubai is also offer 0% tax residency. For example, they do not have taxes. If we compare Dubai or UAE is the country with Paraguay, both of them are claiming that 0% taxes. Why shall I pick Paraguay over UAE?
Basically, for example, the requirement of coming just at the beginning to do this temporary residency and then come back in 2 years and you get the permanent residency. I think that's a good reason to have it. Also, the documents required, I don't know how is Dubai, but are quite easy to get. Your certificate, criminal, and as far as you have an active tax ID, you continue being a tax resident in Paraguay.
Wow.
So that's quite beneficial. You don't need to stay in the country for any period of time. You don't need to make any investment in Paraguay. So I guess
That's huge. I think you answered my question. Physical presence is the biggest thing. It seems like that when you just explained me, because in Dubai, you have to check in every 6 months. So maybe that could be hassling for some people. If I'm in Asia, like I can just check in from Thailand, no problem at all. But if I'm hanging out in Brazil, so it could be a long trip just to check in to keep my tax ID. So it seems like that, just a disclaimer that I am already a tax resident of Paraguay. I'm a Paraguayan tax resident. And most of the things I know, but this webinar is for you. I'm asking all these questions because that's what people ask. So, okay, let's move on, Natalia. I will ask you, I get the Paraguayan tax residency or residency, you can say. After 2 years, I will become a permanent resident, as you told me earlier. What are the requirements to become permanent resident?
To apply for permanent residency, you have two options. First, to have an active tax ID, which most of the clients have, or you can choose the option B, is to present your university degree with apostille. So those are the two options. And once you get the permanent residency, the requirement to keep it active is enter to the country once every 3 years.
This seems incredible. And normally, most of the countries are offering like a temporary residency. There's a path to citizenship. Is there anything like that with Paraguay?
Citizenship in Paraguay is not so easy. First, because Paraguay don't accept dual citizens, except with Spain and Italy. Second, you need to live in at least 5 years, and you need to do a history test as well. So you have to speak Spanish as well. I don't think it's the most easiest country to get citizenship.
Sounds good. Yeah, Spanish is hard. I'm learning right now. So yes, it's indeed a half. And also, as you mentioned, dual citizenship. So we have to let go the other citizenship, whatever we have. And most of the digital nomads come from like Canada, US, European countries. I am not sure if they would be willing to do it, but as you explained, it's hard. So thank you very much. To keep the tax ID active, as you mentioned, to become a permanent resident, you have to have an active tax ID. How we would keep our tax ID active?
The requirement from the tax office is to do every month VAT monthly presentations, which in most of the case, the VAT will be zero because most of digital nomads don't invoice from Paraguay. Even if it's zero, we'll have to do these monthly presentations because if not, we have fines or the client has fines. And it's a service that we provide to our clients. So they can't forget about this and we take care of that.
Wow, sounds incredible. And address and bank account. These are the two questions people mostly ask. What do people know about that? Address.
Okay. The address, when we do the residency process and the tax ID enrollment, the client needs an address. We provide our clients with an address. And also sometimes clients needs a proof to show to some banks, for example, that they have an address in Paraguay. When they get the tax ID enrollment, the address will be shown. So that might help to our clients. And basically, we provide this address for the clients to do migration and the tax ID. What we cannot provide is with an utility bill. That is something that some clients ask, and it's impossible to provide with that.
Yeah. Thank you very much for clarifying this. This is very important. You also gave me the police certificate, and it kind of worked in some places. And I used it, but people have their choices. They go to Paraguay, you can get a phone line, you can give you an Airbnb, whatever you like. That will be separate to Natalia, I guess. So Natalia, I will ask you, what is the fees you charge? Like, for example, including the government fees, your fees, or all of it. What is your offer for the people?
The way we work is with a closed price. We don't want to add some extra and then translations and then no. Closed price. Our price as today is $2,600, which includes temporary residency, cedula, national ID, and tax ID.
The fees you just told me, $2,600, does it, because you include like pick and drop, you pick me from my Airbnb, from immigration, and it has each and everything, and I don't have to pay anything else, right?
Anything else? Our work, we pick you up from your place. We drive you to the offices that we have to visit, then drive you back. And always with our clients, we try to help them, where we can stay, in which hotel, where to go, which restaurant. It's always a pleasure to advise them and what we want. Of course, the client to get the tax residency, but to have a nice time while they are visiting Paraguay.
That sounds incredible. What are the costs if you come as a family with kids under 10?
We have to see each case because how many people it is. Normally with kids, we charge a little bit less, but we have to see if it's a big group. Always we can see how we can help them.
So I see a lot of young kids out there on TikTok offering the same services and their prices maybe a little lesser than you. So I wanted to understand, how does it work? Why? I mean, you are a veteran, I understand that, but how come they're offering a little bit lower prices?
I think you have to compare. In Spanish, we say apples with apples. The way we work, as I mentioned to you, it's a closed price. We don't have any extra after. And I know some providers offer an extra price, but then you have to add the translation, the immigration fee, the transportation, whatever. So probably because of that, it's something that the client has to check. And then with us, we have been doing this job for almost 10 years now with several nationalities and clients. So it's the experience, sometimes I think the experience it's important. And our clients through Visa DV can read our reviews, check in advance the experience of other clients with us.
Mm-hmm. So I would vouch for Natalia as well, guys. Just to let you know, I got my residency last year after working 3 years with Natalia. I never went for it myself, but I decided last year as the world is changing. So yeah, it's a good service. So if you are looking for other providers, please double check because it's a hook price. They hook you. And then when you are in the middle of the process, they may ask you more. Hey, for schedule, I need 1,200 more. Hey, for that. So the prices goes up. So all the new providers are also using the old experienced one like Natalia. So make sure you double check it. There is a lot of fraud as well. People are ghosted. They take the first fees because of course someone is abroad. So and they ghost it. So watch out. If you have any questions, you can ask Natalia. There's no problem. Natalia is not that she's charging you fees for consultation. No, feel free to talk to her. She's amazing. She's from Uruguay, so people are very chill in Uruguay. Very so feel free to contact her, ask her. And just to let you know, people who are watching the recording as well, Natalia is increasing the fees in 2 months. Because why? Because everything is getting expensive to the immigration. Because Natalia works with a lot of parties. This residency and cedula, we get it seamlessly, but there's a lot of parties involved to deliver this service. And those includes officials as well. Of course, immigration fees, you have to pay the immigration fees. And if you need faster process, you need to pay the premium fees, right? So all those fees are rising. So Natalia will be increasing her price. That's why we mentioned 2024. We will do another webinar with that. But if you are planning in the next 6 months, please contact Natalia and lock this price, or just, you don't have to pay anything. Just start your case or whatever, and that will lock your prices. If you're not sure, no worries about it, but just giving you a heads up that after 2 months, the price will be increased. Not too much, but a couple of $100. I expect Natalia will finalize it after knowing what other parties are involved. So feel free to go for it. Can I get a tax certificate? Is there an extra cost for that?
Okay. Yes. Normally, the clients that come from UK and Spain are the ones that ask for the tax certificate. Normally, the most of the clients just want the tax ID, but there is this extra document named tax certificate, which you can get it, but you need to be in Paraguay to get it. So we do the residency, the cedula, the tax ID. And once they have the tax ID, they can come back to Paraguay to get the tax certificate. There is no minimum of staying to get it. You just come to Paraguay, stay 1 week, and we do the process of tax certificate. Basically, the tax certificate says Danish is a tax resident of Paraguay since the day you got a tax ID, and it's valid. It's written valid for 1 year. So if you want to get it 2020 next year, you need to come back and apply for it. But something that people ask me is like, but do I need a minimum of time living in Paraguay to get it? No. Anyone that has an active tax ID can get it coming to Paraguay and ask for it.
Sounds incredible. Thank you very much. Mike is asking, if I have a US LLC and operate as a tax resident from Paraguay, right? And this is exactly my situation, Mike. How aggressive are the tax authorities with their audits? That's number one. Would it be advised to have the LLC managed from outside of Paraguay to minimize the risk of the LLC being determined as a Paraguay company by the tax authorities? I can also handle this. There are a few layers in this question. It's a very complicated question. I will try to unpack it one by one. So if you have a single member LLC or partnership, that also changes the whole dynamic. If you have a single member LLC, that is a self-employment. It's a pass-through entity. So it doesn't matter where you are running it from. I don't think so. It's a matter or not. The physical presence is a matter. So if you're in Paraguay, so what's the problem? You have to be outside the United States. That is the only thing, to not consider it as taxable by the IRS, right? Because if you are in the US and providing the services under LLC, even though you are not a US citizen, but you are on land, so the source of income is the US, then IRS would want 30% from your LLC income, right? So if you're outside the United States, wherever you are, doesn't matter. You don't owe taxes to the IRS. That's the first question. How aggressive are the tax authorities? To be honest, it's very hard to, there's no data to it. Some say 4% audit rates. IRS do the 4% audit rates, but now Trump is coming, is reducing the regulations. So things gonna be maybe better, but audit is random. It can happen to anyone. And that's why don't do crazy thing from your LLC bank account. Do this proper worldwide. I've created a bookkeeping software for me, and it's keeping automatically. Is doing the bookkeeping, and I'm keeping it white. If somebody comes in, I'm not buying groceries from my LLC. I transfer it to me, and then I do the process. Right? So please keep it clean, folks. Would it be advised to have an LLC managed? I don't understand why would. What is your concern? Is the risk is running? Yeah, I just know you're running from Paraguay. So what? I mean, what is the concern you have if it's running? Yes, there is no tax treaty. I understand that. Paraguay and US do not have tax treaty. So does Brazil. US and Brazil do not have a tax treaty as well, right? So there are many countries. US does not have a tax treaty. So in that case, you'll be thinking, maybe a tax anyway. Yes, but you're not in the US. If you were in the US, it's different. So it's like a very complicated question you ask, but you can talk to me, write me, and we can discuss. But yes, there's no clear answer to that. Even the tech guys don't know this because there's a gray areas it's falling in. I will just quickly jump in and ask another question somebody's asking. Yeah, so somebody's asking about the crypto. If I have a crypto or whatever, and I am a Paraguayan tax resident, what does it work if I have a crypto gains?
Two things. Crypto is not regulated in Paraguay. So for Paraguay, it means nothing, And second, still, it's something that you get or earn outside Paraguay. So applies the same rule as you have fiat. For Paraguay, it applies territorial taxation. So what you earn outside Paraguay, for Paraguay, it's zero.
Sounds incredible to me. What is the banking option? I know the banking is difficult if you're not in there. What is the future? What are the current solutions to banking? I can also help there, but yeah, please.
Paraguayan bank system, it's hard to enter. Banks, they want you to open a bank account. They want you to invoice from Paraguay and have an activity in Paraguay. And all the money that you generate because you invoice from Paraguay, that's the money that you can introduce to the bank system. Even if you have money from abroad and you have an open account and you want in Paraguay, and you want to bring that money from abroad tonight, it's not friendly at all, the banking system in Paraguay.
The Paraguayan resident right now, like me, I'm still keeping my bank account in Canada. That's what the residents do. after getting tax ID?
Normally with digital banks, most of the clients, they have, for example, SAPOS, XAPO, or they open bank accounts in Georgia. Outside Paraguay, yes, there are some options, and they present to the banks the tax ID, for example, and we help them to open bank accounts abroad.
Sounds good. And by the way, guys, if you need a bank account, I have opened, as Natalia says, I have a bank account in Georgia. I have a bank account in Chapos. I have a U.S. Charles Schwab brokerage that also comes with the debit card. I successfully opened it. I'm also keeping an account in Canada. I don't do much activity because that's create a tax liability in Canada. And I have an account in the United States. I actually recently went into the U.S. I walk into Miami in the branch. I open the bank account right there, got the debit card right on my face. You don't need to be a U.S. citizen or resident in the U to open a personal account in the U.S. So I have a personal account as well. There I gave my Paraguay Tax Residency, Paraguayan address as well. You outside Paraguay, you have more options. Inside Paraguay, as Natalia said, you could do it, but you have to pay 10% taxes, because if you generate an invoice from Paraguay, that means you owe taxes, which is 10%. If you don't mind, why not? Do it. And by the way, the more regulated the banking system is, very good for consumers, just letting you know. Mm-hmm. So it's an old school in Paraguay, but it would be very protected. It would be very good for consumer. That's why they don't allow anyone to do this, right? So it's a good and bad thing, for us digital nomads. But if you are living in Paraguay, that's very good. No, not everyone can enter in your banking system. In 2 months, we will be hosting another webinar where Natalia will update her fees, and then things will be changing. The global geopolitics is getting weird. This is a time of deglobalization. The rise in the possibility of World War III, world wars will be fought. How do you think Paraguay plays an important place in that scenario? What do you think?
I think today the situation is weird. We're having a weird situation, especially I think in Europe. Paraguay, it's a good option. Latin America, but plus with these tax benefits, it's a good option that a lot of people is looking because of this. So yeah, we don't know what will happen in the near future, but we're having a weird situation, I think, and some people is scared, of course.
So it's a landlocked country. It's safe for food. It's an agricultural land, so there's an abundance of food.
We have a lot of food and steak and agriculture. So for food, there is no problem. It's a very stable country. Currency is very stable. It's a secure country, as you can walk in Asunción on the streets and nothing happens. People is extremely friendly. It's something that most of the clients say, like, wow, the people is very, very warm, very nice. Those are things that make also Paraguay a good option.
Yeah. And if we talk about, I could answer, but I would ask you as well, how easy is it to get in and out? Is it some good countries nearby which I love or people love?
Around which countries? We have Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay next door. So also many clients, what they do when they come to do the temporary residency and they know they have to be in Paraguay after 45 days, they travel around, go to Argentina, or Brazil, or Uruguay. So it's a lovely countries to visit as well, since you are coming, to this point of the war. So yeah, there are many places to go around.
Wow. So guys, 2 hours to Sao Paulo from Paraguay, 1.5 hours to Buenos Aires, 2 hours or something like this to La Paz. So literally, I love Latin America. I think in my past life, I was Latin man, maybe. So all my favorite places are around it. And one thing I want to share, that Paraguay is so small, Asunción, is quite like, it's like, when it looks to me developed. Maybe I was in the developed neighborhood, but it has some nice, cute restaurants. And after a few days, I will repeat that it's too small that, you may not have to do things, but this is a good thing because it's a perfect place to cool down. Because we digital nomads, we have a FOMO. We want to do things because we are in a new country. I think Paraguay is the perfect place. I stayed 1.5 months and I wanted to stay more because I was so productive. You know, it's like a near US time zone. This is another Canada and you're on a kind of Canada and US time zone. So you can be also productive. You know, if you are into meat, you have very high quality meat actually in Uruguay and Paraguay and Argentina as well. But yeah, Paraguay definitely has a high quality of meat. If you're vegetarian, don't worry, you have also options there. Go ahead,
And also, it's very affordable as well.
Oh, yes, yes. When I was there, I never thought twice to walk into any restaurant because I know it's not going to break my bank. So this is a good thing. So guys, thank you very much. And everybody's watching on the YouTube. We will be hosting another webinar because the rules are changing. The world is changing. So till then, if you want to contact Natalia, there's a link in the webinar. There is a link in the description of this video. She did not charge anything for consultation. So feel free. Contact her, ask all your burning questions, and she would be happy to answer. Thank you very much for coming, Natalia. I really want to show my gratitude to you. Thank you very much, and see you in 2 months.
Thank you to you, and let's talk in 2 months.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.